In Walt Disney World, where you stay can be as exciting as what you do, because the hotels are part of the fun. For my first trip here, I said I wanted to stay at a typical Disney hotel. Well, I quickly found out that Disney hotels are anything but typical. My hotel, the Polynesian Resort, is like all the hotels in Walt Disney World. It has a theme of its own. For the Polynesian Resort, the Disney folks conjured up outrigger canoes, a rainforest, luau's, and more. And everything fits the theme. Restaurants, signs, decor, and costumes worn by the cast members. Yes, the play's the thing, all over Walt Disney World. The transportation system here is amazing. It includes the largest private bus system in the world, and that's the real world, not just Walt Disney World. Plus Disney-designed boats and trams, and of course, that essential component of modern urban planning, the monorail. Walt Disney World is as complex as any major city, or small county for that matter. Disney Imagineers designed every component of the property with all the care and detailed planning that it took to create Cinderella Castle. It has its own fire and police department, its own utilities and recycling center, its own medical facility, and even its own fiber-optic telephone network. The fact is that Walt Disney World has become a textbook example of modern urban planning and design. I have to remind myself that in 1965, this was all empty. Every square mile that has been developed was environmentally planned. 7,500 acres are set aside as a conservation area, and 50% of the acreage will remain in its natural landscaping.
Walt Disney World's telephone company was the first to use a fiber-optic cable system for its regular service, and the first in Florida to establish a 911 emergency number.
The success of the Magic Kingdom made possible the company's next big project, a theme park that was destined to become the largest privately financed construction project in history. Back in the 60s, the Disney Imagineers took to calling it Waltopia, but Walt himself had another name for it.
We call it Epcot, spelled E-P-C-O-T, Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. Epcot will take its cue from the new ideas and new technologies that are now emerging from the creative centers of American industry. It will be a community of tomorrow that will never be completed, but will always be introducing and testing and demonstrating new materials and new systems.
Walt always had an interest in technology. From his first cartoons, through the many innovations in his animated classics, to his three-dimensional forms of entertainment, his appreciation of new ideas never waned.
Now, this contraption here might look like something from outer space, but it's actually a control harness for programming the actions and gestures of our audio-animatronic figures. This electronically controlled method of programming can give us a wide range of movements. A broad gesture to the wink of an eye. That's it. Thank you.
A generation of artists, filmmakers, engineers, designers, and craftsmen had been shaped by Walt Disney's vision. Epcot would be their vision, too.
I believe we can build a community here that more people will talk about and come to look at than any other area in the world. I'm sure this experimental prototype community of tomorrow can influence the future of city living for generations to come. It's an exciting challenge, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for everyone who participates.
Epcot Center, as the Imagineers called it, required an expanded vision beyond just entertainment. So they recruited some of the world's best thinkers and designers in areas as diverse as urban planning, marine biology, and agriculture, and said to them, "So, what's next?" The answer was an eye-opener for everyone. Where the Magic Kingdom was built on a foundation of youthful fun, Epcot Center would be a community of ideas. The Imagineers wanted it to be entertaining, sure, but more important, they wanted it to be thought-provoking. Epcot Center would be a world community, a center of knowledge and information, and a proving ground for future technologies. For Epcot's signature structure, the Imagineers needed an image as unique as the Magic Kingdom's castle. Something that would say, Here's a place that's global in scope and futuristic in design. They made an inspired choice: Spaceship Earth. Dominating the Florida landscape, it is the world's largest geosphere. At 180 feet tall, there are 2.2 million cubic feet of space inside. And the amazing thing is that it is stable without any interior supports. Epcot Center, like everything else in Walt Disney World, tells a story. But this isn't a fairy tale, a fantasy, or a legend. This is the story of man, of our time on the planet. A story told with flashbacks to the past and flash forwards to the future. As you walk around Future World and you see the living seas, the land, Journey into Imagination, and all the others, you begin to get a sense of what the Imagineers had in mind when they built this place. To create an environment filled with excitement, surprise, and anticipation for the future. The story of man, as told at Epcot Center, is filled with inspiring twists of ingenuity, triumphant achievements, and heroic examples of human potential. The simple, recurrent theme is that life is a wonderful thing, always has been, and will continue to be so in the future.
The Living Seas Coral Reef Tank is 27 feet deep, 203 feet across, and holds 6 million gallons of seawater.
The Wonders of Life exhibit is my favorite experience at Epcot Center. This high-tech attraction gives guests an entertaining, hands-on look at health and fitness. The 100,000 square foot pavilion is an example of Disney storytelling at its finest. Who else but Disney could turn the intricate workings of the human machine into fascinating entertainment? It took 14 years of research, conceptual designs by experts in the fields of health and nutrition, and the collaboration of Imagineers and top filmmakers to create the Wonders of Life exhibit. The resulting attraction covers the subject literally from head to toe by combining science, athletics, food, medicine, and brilliant art direction. You can experience a ton of stuff here, from a thrill ride through the human body to restaurants which feature fat-free foods. See these kids? Every single one of them is learning something, and they don't even realize it. I don't know about your school, but mine didn't have a 70-millimeter motion-controlled theater to take us on a tour of the human body. The Body Wars adventure takes place in a theater which is actually a flight simulator. You remember those great old magazine articles like, "I am Joe's spleen"? Well, in this ride, you meet Joe's spleen up close and personal. The emphasis here is on nutrition. Goofy About Health is a multimedia presentation starring the Goofster, Gooferino, the Goofmeister, getting healthy, eating all the right foods. The anatomical players turn health into humor. Or is that the other way around? And Cranium Command takes a funny inside look at the battle between mind and body raging in your typical 12-year-old.
I'm your commanding officer, General Knowledge, and it's my job to turn you mealy-mouthed meatheads into a crack squadron of Cranium Commandos.
Since 1971, Walt Disney World horticulturists have planted 18 million flowering annuals and 884,000 trees.